Try as I might, I can't face against the grain for everything. I was excited before, I can't pretend that I'm not now. After hootling and scootling in front of a camera on KEXP and gathering a raving following from that alone, Black Midi aren't slamming piano keys all at once, but it's only a matter of time before that happens, given that I can hear this happen in my head as Geordie Greep neurotically wails about brutalist structures, or existentialism or whatever. The music becomes so absurd, it's worrying. Black Midi are undeniably creative. I think it would be needlessly cynical to listen to this and call it a direct copy of anything. Except maybe Time Machine Modulus. I don't care if we live in the age of Nightcore ska or Boris Johnson and Bit Bling, noisy punk spirit and dance rhythms is still a weird fucking pair. I mean, this is just personally me, but if it turns out that internet music lords are calling Black Midi a rip-off of like 15 other bands, then maybe they're more idiosyncratic than we thought. In the span of a week I've seen thumbtacks aimed at the Atlas pinning down Slint, Polvo, Periubu, Wire, Ort, Usher, Zig and Zag, Skippy the Kangaroo, Kimmy Granger, Optimus Prime and the entire cast of Coronation Street. You guys need to chill out. I was admittedly worried about whether or not the dry eccentricity of their performance would translate as well to the studio recording, but then it happens, which you do love to hear. The music itself is exciting. Odd time signatures, quirky dance rhythms, tight band chemistry that makes you wish that you and your friends were the ones that were jamming songs like this with your friends in a shitty garage, and plus neurotic yelling is sort of the expected call, but tracks like Western showed me that Black Midi are a lot smarter with where they steer their contextually unorthodox sound. The more I think about my reference points for who they're influenced by, the further away that gets from accurate description, and that's great. If you can feel like an ever-shifting fusion of everything that came before you, that's you being unique in itself. So I wipe the chalkboard clean and just talk about what Black Midi are as they are, and they're fantastic. And if you don't think so, that's alright, but you're also silly. Their writing is condensed into memorable key phrases that talk large about religious dogma, abusive victim dynamics, and the Flint water crisis, which is still fucking going, what the hell. But most notable is how absurdly meta the album is. The way that this band write their lyrics is the equivalent to the protagonist walking out of the frame and joining you as they watch the events in the films themselves, just sitting with you on the couch. The way that they evaluate their own writing, and the way that they judge people, and even take shots at their own perception of existence. Didn't it give you chills the way that Greep says she moves with a purpose, a magnificent purpose, over and over again for virtually the entire track? Because it did for me. It was scary. It was like the more he said it, the more the meaning began to change, from some perv eyeing out a woman to a narrator who's actually beginning to lose grasp of what their own purpose is. The title and the opening line of Years Ago are literally referencing an Alabama rapper who froze up trying to freestyle a poem on live television that they couldn't impromptu. If you condense the message of Speedway, it's basically them saying, we're making new music. They sing in gibberish and Polish on 2 separate tracks as well. Weirdly, the comparison I want to make the most is the most recent. Ort's 2015 record, Sun Coming Down. It's bold, it's dense, it's groovy, it's neurotic and dizzying. And yet, despite all the energy, it's also such a depressing album. Tim Darcy's repetition of mundane phrases on the song Beautiful Blue Sky to reflect the grey-scale directionlessness of routines in late capitalist society really begins to weigh on you the more that he does it. It's an undeniably catchy song, but I couldn't lie to you, it's crushing because it sounds like in place of a soul, there's just an empty void, one that suggests to you that none of it really means anything truly. Schlagenheim is even more rambunctious and unpredictable than what Ort were doing, and yet it still beams with this empty-souled hopelessness. The Americana-inspired timidness of Western doesn't sound sparse in any soothing way, it sounds false. It sounds like it's fooling you into thinking it's safe. The whole album is substantial musically, but conceptually it seems like a farce. It's a feverish moment in time that passes with very little to take away at first. Part of me wanted to start rolling my eyes again at bands that are just saying words for the sake of saying words, but I've heard enough examples of wordless vocals that express emotion or lack thereof in such vivid ways. So Schlagenheim becomes such a pool of nothing that it fucking means something in the end. The album doesn't lack direction, it's just lost. You have to really be in touch with that feeling to know how to channel the feeling of being lost with rock music fundamentals, but I guess that just means you really do know your shit, except when it comes to knowing what your magnificent purpose is. But that's the point, isn't it? Black Midi make the kind of music that I've always wanted to band a group of friends together for, to create something as fucked up. These songs are so intricately composed and put together, it left me so excited, the first instance in a long time of a new band that I am actively excited to hear the trajectory of over time, because nearly everything about this is nailed. How can you cap on potential this much right out of the gate? The anguish river streams like the curves in an 8 out of 10. To be fair, it's already been a week of varying takes on the album and its acclaim, a lot of people claiming that you're all making a big fuss about nothing. Well, they're sort of right.